Hello all my buddies, this is Carmen and I'm back with another flip through of my mini pocket notebooks. This one is the Muji Passport Memo Dot Grid Navy. It says it's navy, but if it's blue then it's the darkest blue ever because it's totally black. On the cover is a Goulet pen sticker that I got in my order with my Monteverde Ritma, and the hamster sticker was a gift from Somia. I'll start with my pen test page, as I always start with this page when starting a new planner or notebook. I go to the very back of the notebook and try out pens I have inked. And then if I change inks or pens during the lifespan of the notebook, I write it down. Some of the fountain pens and ink are feathering, which means they get a little soft on the edges and don't keep a sharp line. Sad. I really love my other Muji notebook, but I can't remember if I used a lot of fountain pens and graphic liners in that one. So I don't know if this paper has always been like this. I remember using my Muji gel pens and Uni Jetstream though, so I know those are good. That being said, since I didn't love this paper, I wanted to finish this notebook as quickly as possible, so that led me to a lot of experimenting. On the left, you see a sticker for my Trenya headphones. They're my noise-canceling headphones that are amazing. And now we'll go back to the first page. You can see some post-its on the left stuck to the inside front cover. That will be a theme to the notebook because I deliberately kept post-its for this notebook. On the right, my index. Let's start with the stickers and washi tape. They're all from Somia. I believe the stickers are from Daiso and the washi tape is from Etsy. I color-coded my index with highlighters, one for each of the days. Luckily, I had enough lines on the page and pages in the book for this to work out. But I put 3 full weeks into this notebook, with each day taking up a spread instead of a page. This is again another memory keeping notebook, so let's go first to April 5th. On the left are post-its that I used for that day. Here, a checklist for groceries, and then a checklist for myself sideways on the bottom. Both of these post-its were used in the way post-its are usually used, with temporary adhesive, but I glued them with a permanent tape runner after their use was done. On the right is what I did that day, with a sticker representing that item or section of items. This is going to be one type of spread in the book, where I have multiple post-its on the left, and then my day for memory keeping on the right. The next spread is April 6th. This is another type of spread for the book. In early 2020, Somi and I went to a closing stationery shop and bought a whole bunch of items, one of which we thought was an A6 Midori notebook, and actually turned out to be huge A6 Midori sticky notes. I used 1 or 2 the past couple of years, but in an effort to use more, I wanted to make these geometric doodles. I didn't want to put them on the actual page, since the Muji pages would just make the fountain pen ink bleed through the back. So I drew the doodles on the Midori sticky notes instead. Midori paper is supposed to be great for fountain pen inks, and it clearly shows. I've been wanting to do these types of doodles for a while. I keep seeing these types of doodles on the fountain pen subreddit, and I just never got around to doing it for some reason. So I made it a priority to fill empty space with these doodles in this notebook. And again, on the right is my day. Usually I write out in pencil or on a different post-it note what I did, and then rewrite it in fountain pen later, maybe on the weekend or even a couple weeks later. The next spread is April 7th. I started with drawing dots in for the doodles on the sticky notes, using a stencil I made myself, but then I didn't feel like erasing the pencils, so I kept them in. The next spread is April 8th, and here's another type of spread in my notebook. Some days I only had one thin checklist post-it, so I had a thin doodle. These are actually harder to do because in my head, I had these elaborate designs and these thinner Midori sticky notes were too thin, so I had to make them more simple. You'll see some more samples later on. The next spread is April 9th. Here's an example of my larger doodle cut short, though this crop does look cool, I think. The next spread is April 10th. Here's a post-it of my time blocking. I usually try 2-hour intervals, but things like dinner are usually just 1 hour. Sometimes I cross things off and sometimes I don't. I usually cross off the things that I finished, but sometimes I also get lazy and don't cross things off. The next spread is April 11th. Here, the post-it on the side is my printed version of the Alistair method. I have some changes for the next batch that I print out, as I don't have time for game, which is shorthand for video game, because at the beginning of the year I wanted to try to slog through my video game backlog. I still want to do it, but now I don't have time. The next spread is April 12th. This doodle started out as curves, and then I got annoyed because the ink was drying so slowly, so I just made them all straight lines instead. It ends up looking kind of like fishnet stockings, which makes me like it more. The next spread is April 13th. This doodle is another example of a larger doodle in my head and badly interpreting it on a thinner sticky note. I try to put in Tetris shapes in the doodle. Can you see them? The next spread is April 14th. This doodle was the first doodle with my new-ish Pilot Plumix with the 1mm nib. The ink is the cartridge it came with. I think it came out really cool with diamonds and waves. On the right, I got my first shot, and I celebrated by writing out the lyrics of Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional, but they were remixed by Matstagram on Instagram to be vaccinated too. I love this song, and I love the remix. The personal irony in my life is that the person who loved this song with me in high school is an anti-vaxxer. The next spread is April 15th. The doodle on the left was inspired by a post on the Fountain Pen subreddit. This one, like all the other ones inspired by the post on Reddit, will be linked in the description below. Be sure to look out for the timestamp and date. The next spread is April 16th. For this doodle, the original looks truly beautiful, and this one looks okay, but you should really check out the original. Again, linked below. The next spread is April 17th. Here's another time blocking day. I usually do these on Saturdays because they're the days I need to stay focused, and time blocking definitely helps. You can see that I have a huge chunk of 5 hours that just says work on projects, and the project posted is on the bottom. I tried to focus 40 minutes on each like the time blocking allowed for, but I ended up spending about 60 minutes on each, so I could only get the top 5 things that needed to be done. The next spread is April 18th. Here's the last type of spread in the book. The Alistair post-it is on the left, but the right spread is my version of a gratitude list called My Recencies, listing about 5 things that made me happy over the course of the week. I try to give myself Sundays as a rest and relaxing day. The next spread is April 19th. I love the look of this wave doodle. I find it very relaxing to look with. I only wish it had more consistency and flow. The next spread is April 20th. I had a hard time trying to plan out this doodle. You're probably able to see the pencil marks, and even with the pencil marks, I made a huge mistake. Let me know if you caught it. The next spread is April 21st. I love this spread because it reminds me of Q*bert. It was such a nice and relaxing doodle to complete. The next spread is April 22nd. Another kind of complicated doodle. The last half of the larger Midori sticky notes I printed on with light gray dots, so I wasn't drawing out the dots anymore, and that gives this one a weird pajama look. I love chevrons though. The next spread is April 23rd. This doodle is another kind of Q*bert feel, if Q*bert was on acid. Each one of the faces has arrows that go in different directions, giving this doodle kind of movement. The next spread is April 24th. I love this doodle. I messed up a couple times and maybe I should have just leaned into it, but I love the look of the line triangles with the dotted triangles and the blank triangles. This is the only one where I wish I could erase the dot grid because I bet the blank triangles would look especially striking. The next spread is April 25th, my last text spread of the notebook. The rest of the book is washi tape because I was bored and I just got my washi tape back from my mom's house after the move. All of these washi tapes are from Daiso. Man, I miss browsing at Daiso. I took a break before the pandemic and only have gone once during the pandemic. And that's it. Let me know what you thought of this experimental notebook. I'm glad I finished this book so quickly and I got to do some doodles in the book. Thanks for watching, everybody.